And if he's all merciful, he would be inclined to do so. He wouldn't want to see anybody burning forever in hell. So they didn't have an answer to that one either. And then they said, well, he said, well, they said there's the spirit world where you have a chance to become purified. Hey, Bhakti Ed, Ishtadev. So I said, well, how exactly does that work? I mean, do you have a body? No, you don't have a body. But you're in the spiritual, and you get, well, so how do you get purified if there's not exchanges in consciousness? And, well, we don't have an answer to that anyway. I said, well, okay, I appreciate that you're out and about, trying to spread get people to be pious and believe in God. Thank you for that. But come back when you got some answers, Okay. Thank you, Amoga. I was thinking only the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada said only the Bhagavatam and the Vaishnavas know who is who and what is what. We're going to skip the drum today. Oh, if it's you, you can do it. I promise I won't criticize. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Jasoda Nandana Vajjana Ranjana Jasoda Nandana Vajjana Ranjana Jamuniti Ravanatari Jamunati Ravanatari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Jasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunati Ravanatari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Go Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Pari Bhajakacharya Sita Shishman His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Gota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadada Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadi Dham Ki Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Sambhita Bhakta Vinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Sisi Radha Giridhari Ki Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki Gopremanande. All glories to the Sama devotees. All glories to the Sama devotees. All glories to the Sama devotees. All glories to the Divine Lotus Feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Krishna Svadamo Pagate Dhammakanadi Bisaha Kalanda Sadasham Misha Parano Konadodita Narayana Namaskricha Naram Shaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. The Bhagavatam is burned as the sun, is originated just after the departure of Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision through the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, we should first offer respects to the personality of God in Narayan, the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati, the author, Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. One the right verse? Yeah, okay. Bada hridayas tasmin arbake kala bhashani nirikshamanas talilam. It's talilam mumude jarato brisham sabada hridayas tasmin arbake kalabashani nirikshamanas talilam mumude jarato brisham sabada hridayas tasmin arbake kalabashani nirikshamanas talilam mumude jarato brisham sabada hridayas tasmin arbake kalabashani nirikshamanas talilam mumude jarato brisham. Sabada lilhas arbake kalabashani nirikshamanas talilam mumude jarato brisham sabada hridayas tasmin arbake kalabashani nirikshamanas talilam jarato brisham sabada hridayas tasmin arbake kalabashani nirikshamanas talilam mumude jarato brisham sabada hridayas tasmin arbake kalabashani nirikshamanas talilam mumude jarato brisham. Sa he bada hridaya, being very attached, tasmin, to that, arbake, small child, kalabashani, who could not talk clearly but talked in broken language, nirikshamana, seeing, tat, his, lilam, pastimes, such as walking and talking to his father. Mumude, enjoyed. Jadata, the old man. Brisham, very much. Because of the child's broken language and awkward movements, old Jamia was very much attached to him. He always took care of the child and enjoyed the child's activities. Also, you say, because of the child's broken language and awkward movements, old Jamia was very much attached to him. He always took care of the child and enjoyed the child's activities. And Prabhupada's commentary. Here it is clearly mentioned that the child Narayan was so young that he could not even speak or walk properly. Since the old man was very attached to the child, he enjoyed the child's activities. And because the child's name was Narayan, the old man always chanted the holy name of Narayan. Although he was referring to the small child and not to the original Narayan, the name of Narayan is so powerful that even by chanting his son's name, he was becoming purified. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam. Adi Lila 17:21. There's no other way but the chanting of the holy name. And that no other way means not by karma, not by jnana, not by so many different, not by yoga. Pretty much closes the door on everything else. Srila Rupa Goswami has therefore declared that if one's mind is somehow or other attracted to by the holy name of Krishna, tasmat kanepa upayena mana Krishne niveshayat, one is on the path of liberation. It is customary in Hindu society for parents to give their children names like Krishna, Govinda, Narayan Das, or Vrindavan Das. Thus, they chant the names of Krishna, Govinda, Narayan, and Vrindavan and get the chance to be purified. Omagena tamarandasya gyanasalabja. Jakshushin militan gena tazareshi gurave namaha. Now, let's see what's up here. So, I was thinking about attachment, a field I have much experience in. Other than Dravida and Vaikuntha and Vijay, think about an arrowhead for a minute. You know, the head of an arrow? Think about an arrowhead. Why is it shaped like that? There's a reason. Yes, thermodynamics, so it flies straight and all that stuff. But there's other reasons. To give you a big hint, when it comes in contact with the target, why is it designed like that? Two things come to mind.
To perfume.
Vijay! It's too spooky when you come out of the blue. So just you gotta...
The answer, Maharaj, is to perfurate.
Okay, fine. But if you could hold on, because you're on heavy volume, it's like the...
Okay, Maharaj, I will lower my volume.
No, it's all right. Just save it for the question time, okay? Because
Maharaj.
You'll give me a heart attack, I'll keel over right here. And that, of course, that would be a good way to go on one hand, you know. It would be.
That was not my intention.
Thank you, Baru. So,
you're welcome, Maharaj.
So it penetrates. It goes in very, very easily. Acha, the second part, it has got those prongs. It rips out flesh with it. It is not easy. The point being is that if you have a wild horse, a horse living in the wild, it's just sitting there in the field, munching on the grass, looks very peaceful, right? No problem. What happens when you try to ride that thing, when you put a saddle and a bridle on it? It just goes crazy. So it's like that with the mind, it's like that with attachment. You don't realize how insidious, how, what is the word? Seditious. It sneaks up on you. It goes in very easily. But when you try to break attachments, it's a very, very difficult thing. And the fact of the matter is that we are being, Prabhupada gives the example, it's from the Bhagavatam, that like a big bull, the living entity, the jiva, is unlimitedly powerful. Prabhupada says in one lecture, more powerful than the sun. That's the power of the individual jiva, the soul. And yet it's completely controlled by the senses, by the silliest thing. People are, I mean, you know, any way you want to go down, smoking cigarettes or, you know, I mean, frankly, sex, when you think about it, it's not really that, I mean, we don't want you to think about it, but it's not really that big a deal, you know, when you think about it. Video games, people are attached. We had a guy who left the St. Louis temple when I was a brahmachari in St. Louis. And we saw him later on downtown St. Louis. This is 1971, 72 maybe. And we said, what happened? You know, was it? And usually either they have some philosophy or their parents got on their case and were crying and, you know, come home, go to college, or they had their old girlfriend. There's, you know. So what was it? I said, what was, you know, what's the deal? Nope, wasn't philosophy. Philosophy make complete sense. Nope. Wasn't an old girlfriend or attraction to boyfriend, girlfriend, but wasn't that. I said, well, you liked intoxication? Nope, wasn't that. You know what it was? He was attached, I swear to you, to barbecued, pickled pig's ear sandwiches. And it's just like you can imagine. It's a pig's ear, and they just let it sit in the salt and brine, and then they barbecue. I don't know. Whoever came up with that one was desperate to eat anything. So, but he couldn't give up the taste, that taste. So, I mean, it's easy for us. You know, I was thinking about the other day, because it's my job and my service to counsel people sometimes. You know, people call. And it's very easy to see the attachments in others. You know, if you just do this and just do that and just go left, go right, and it'll all work out fine, no problem. You just have to. But when it comes to ourselves, oh, wait a minute, you don't understand. You don't understand the full story, and there's all kinds of conditions and clauses, and you don't know what's, you know. Although, is it the Bible that says there's nothing new under the sun? I think there's nothing new under the sun. It's, Ecclesiastes. I was thinking it was Ecclesiastes, which is a good book. You know, somebody said to Prabhupada, why, you know, Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago, but now we're modern times, and, you know, what's Bhagavad Gita got to do with us? Prabhupada said, what's changed? The three modes of material nature have changed. Misery is caused by other living entities. Misery is caused by the mind and body. Misery is caused by the material nature. What's changed? Lust, greed, anger, envy. What's changed? I mean, the format that these things are delivered from may have changed somehow or other, but it's the same old story. So what's actually changed? So my point is that, and who was telling me? Amarenda. It's a long story. He had a friend who went to the USC, University of Southern California, sometimes known as University of Spoiled Children, and they have one of the best film schools in America. And he was studying screenwriting, this friend of Amarenda's. And the guy said, you know, there's only about 6 stories. There's like 6 elements. You know, person is successful, person gets knocked down from adversity, a person recovers. Boy loves girl, loses girl, gets girl back. I mean, there's only, you know, person is an arrogant fool and just, you know, treats everybody, and then, you know, circumstances put him in that situation, and he learns empathy and becomes a better person. You know, there's only like 6 or 7. They tell you there's only, and you just kind of move the moving parts around. You throw in a girlfriend, and you know, and throw in some adversity, and then you put in a few jokes, and you got it ready to go. You know, so there's nothing really new under the sun. But certainly, speaking for myself, and I can have enough experience that other people, that we think that our situation is unique. And on one hand, each of us is an individual soul. I don't diminish our sense of independence and value in the world and all that. Each one is unique, and each and every one of us is especially dear to Krishna. Each one of us has our own unique spot that we fit into in the spiritual world. And Krishna misses us, no doubt about it. But the fact of the matter is what we're up against in this material world, those attachments, they're all pretty much the same. And the way to deal with them is the same. Prabhupada said, how do you get rid of an unwanted guest? Of course, you're all magnanimous and charitable and all that, but if you ever have, and it's the classic passive aggression, because you don't want to, Indians are expert at it, you know. How, if you've got an unwanted guest, but you want to say, hey, bum, move on. You know, the American way. If other people are passive-aggressive, we're just aggressive, you know. At least there's some gentleness in passive aggression. Although, anyway, whatever. I'm not going to argue which is the better. Aggression, at least you know what you're dealing with. So, what is the passive-aggressive way of getting rid of an unwanted guest? You just don't feed them. They'll go. Don't worry. Bye-bye. They'll be gone in a couple of days, you know. They'll be gone by dinner, you know. Skip breakfast, skip lunch. So how to get rid of attachments? They're of course, in the ultimate issue, you know, I don't know, they still have kids. I don't know what they do now. But they used to have what they call a ring set. You know, you go around they still have those? You can swing around, then one ring, and then you grab the other ring, and then, you know. Now, you can't stay suspended in space. Momentum will carry you for a small period of time. Picture going around these ring set, you know. But you got to let go of one, right? Otherwise you can't go forward. What gives you the confidence to let go of one? You've grabbed on to the other. You have that certainty that there's a better future, that I'm going to succeed, you know. So in the ultimate issue, the only thing that works is you have to supplant the lower taste by higher taste. Nature abhors a vacuum. So I was thinking about that, about attachment. I was also thinking that let me get my glasses on here. Well, I guess I'll say it this way. It's also what makes that small child so attractive to the parents. You've had teenage parents, teenage kids. When they're 5, 6, 7, I mean, they have their minor tantrums, but they're pretty pliant, aren't they? They'll ultimately listen to you because they're, and they have that confidence in their parents, you know. So what happens when they're teenagers? All of a sudden, Mahabharata told me there's a El Salvadorian saying that the small child thinks, I'll go ask my father, he'll know the answer. Then they get to be around 12, 13, they say, well, I'll ask my father, he might know. Then they get to be teenagers, and what could that old fool know? I'm going to ask, what Then they get to be around 25, 30, think, I'll ask my father, he might know. And when the guy's dead and gone, they think, if only my father was here, he was so wise. Or as Mark Twain says, I left home at 18, my father was the biggest fool I ever met. I came back at 21, amazing how much the old man had learned in 3 years. But there's a sweetness, that sweet dependence. It becomes it's attractive. As a little child, they need you for everything, and I remember that my father, for Father's Day, I was 5 years old, kindergarten. I wanted to buy my father a present for Father's Day. I'm 5 years old. I have no money. I have no means of. So I asked him, can I borrow $5? Big change in those days. Oh, definitely. He said, can you drive me to the store? Definitely. So, I was a little kid. I was kind of spooked. You just stand in the front of the store. I don't want you to see what I'm doing, So then, so in other words, he gave me the money. He drove me there. He protected me while I was there. My mother helped me package the thing up because I was inept, And then I gave him a little gift. I forget what it's, a little paperweight or something, whatever, And he kept that thing his entire life on his desk. He paid for it. He arranged for it. He did the whole thing. But because there was some love by his innocent little child, it becomes very attractive. So I was thinking two things on this, that how attractive Krishna is. And Krishna, whatever way you want to reciprocate with Krishna, like when Krishna enters the arena, the wrestling arena in Mathura, and everyone sees him differently. The wrestlers are thinking, oh my gosh, here comes death personified. They're looking at Krishna's arms and Krishna's swagger, This is the end of me. And the elderly gopis are thinking, oh, he's such an innocent boy, and what's going to happen to him, And his friends are saying, go get him, Krishna, go get him, So everybody's got their different. See, Krishna reciprocates perfectly. Everyone's looking for love. That was that country western song. I was getting my tires changed. It's the same time where the guy called out to his friend, hey, what are you doing? Nah, I'm doing nothing. I'm just killing time. And I couldn't resist. I said, no, my friend, you're not killing time. Time is killing you. The guy said, well, that's a buzzkill. No, it's the truth. But anyway, the same time on the radio, I remember they were or whatever it was, they were playing "Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places." I forget what the other line was. Something about looking for love, in everyone's faces or whatever it was. You know, people are looking for it. They're looking for you. Look it up the country western. People are looking for it. But, you know, I saw these old geezers, and I don't mean to make fun, and I'm not making fun, but it's a valid point. They were old. I mean, I'm old, but they were like in the Olympics. They were like 80 years old, 85, and they were holding hands. So they're soulmates. And okay, it's kind of sweet. Okay, they've got each other, they're, you know. But what's going to happen? Somebody asked this question in Bhagavatam. Well, you know, are you denying love, and are you denying, you know? No, we're not saying that at all. Actually, Prabhupada said a devotee died, was killed in a car accident, and his good friend in Detroit asked Prabhupada, said, you know, Prabhupada, you know, so-and-so was killed in the car accident, and you know, I know the philosophy, soul can either be, you know, withered by the wind or burnt or, you know, he's eternal. He said, but still, I miss them. I know the philosophy. Prabhupada said, yeah, of course you do. Prabhupada said, we're not dull stones. You know, there's a lot. Was it Hari Hari at the end? He names his different friends, you know. So devotees, and if you read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, this deep, deep friendship. So the emotions are there. So many things in this world this world is not binary. It's not black or white. It's not either or. That's for narrow mind, two-dimensional minds. Things run on many tracks simultaneously. So no doubt one has affection. You know, Prabhupada said you can never repay the teacher who teaches you even one letter. How can you not be affectionate for, you know, good parents? How can you not feel appreciated? If you have someone who's helped you in your life, how can you not have affection? Are you some kind of ingrate? So it's not, it runs on several tracks. We have emotion, but we have in the back of our mind, because this guy was going on and on about my family and how I love them and they love me, and that's who is the guy, Art of Living? He was a big guy. He was, a couple years ago, he was the big guy in India. No, not Rajneesh. You know the Art of Living guy? What was his name? Ravi Shankar. He packed 25,000 people in the Delhi, you know, whatever that, by the Yamuna, there's that big convention area. All the pickpockets in India said it's a great opportunity. They were fleeced blind. That was the article in the Times of India, you know. So, but the point is that he was a big guy. I think he's been replaced by who's the latest, you know, whatever. It's the same name. Ravi's a popular name, and Shankar's a common name. So he was Ravi Shankar, but he wasn't the musician. He was another guy. Typical thing: long hair, saffron cloth, nice manicured beard, gentle, soothing voice. So they asked him, Yudhishthira Govinda, who's the public relations contact person in Delhi? Wonderful devotee. So Yudhishthira Govinda, very brave. So he showed me the article in the paper. They asked him, so what is the meaning of love? What is the deepest expression of love? He said, well, you know, when you've had a rough day at the office, your boss has harassed you, or your employees have all fizzled out on you, you know, and you're stuck in traffic and so many issues. And you come home and you open your door and you see, and the little dog looks at your dog, looks up at you. And that look of your dog, that's love. The dog's happy to see you because he's either got to go to the bathroom or he's hungry. He's thinking, here's my meal ticket. And of course they have some emotion. But the point is that, the point I'm trying to make, to give up attachment, which is very deep and very strong, we have to remember, as far as the material side of things, Bhagavatam gives a fantastic example. That if you see a river flowing, sometimes there's an eddy or a cross current, and the leaves will come together, sticks, and there'll be a little, and the current will change, and it'll all separate. Right? Or sometimes you see in the ocean, seaweed, it'll come together and the current changes and it separates. What is that current, other than Dravida? They didn't hear you this side because you said it softly. Anyone know? What is that current? It's bringing things together and separating them. Of all in Sankhya Yoga, the 24 elements, it analyzes everything, and there's the fifth element, which is the mixer of time, stirring the whole brew together, the witch's brew of the material nature. So we understand, we're not dull stones. We have gratitude, we have affection, we have appreciation. But we understand that this is all, those old geezers holding on to each other. Who knows where they're going to be in their next life? Who was the guy? Nehru? Well, I'm sorry, I already said it, but Nehru? You know, he spoke, we have our tryst with destiny, you know, at the India Gate, millions of people all cheering him. Where is he now? In the Swedish embassy. He's a dog in the Swedish embassy. He said one famous astrologer has said he's a dog in the Swedish embassy. So that's intelligent. And what we're looking for, the affection that we're looking for, that is actually Krishna. Prabhupada says you make Krishna your lover, he'll never leave you. You make Krishna your master, he'll never send you away. You make Krishna your child, he'll never grow old. That's who we're actually, and he reciprocates perfectly. We have the Damodar Leela, I mean, it's just perfect. How he deals, you know, he's afraid of his mother and he's crying and the whole, they're just perfect. And he's a rascal. It's the mother likes it when the kids are, you know, what's he up to now, you know? So in so many ways, Krishna, he's the perfect friend. You look at Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. You want a friend in need is a friend indeed. And a friend, what they say, fair weather friends, a friend who stays with you through thick and thin. That's a friend, you know, and who can relieve your mind. So we're attached to so many things in this world, but the secret is to become attached to Krishna, who is the perfect in every regard. So I wanted to say a little something about Namabhas, because this is talking about, it's not that, and because it's referenced when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Haridas Thakur, how will all these people be delivered? And he talks about the holy name, the power of the holy name. And also when he talks with the Gopal Chakravarti, was the puffed up Brahmin, because Haridas Thakur says that simply by Namabhas is not pure chanting. It's not calling out with pure devotion. It's saying the holy name innocently. There's offensive chanting, which means you're chanting for a motivation. We say the 10 offenses, you know. I want something, or I'm taking it as a material object, or those are all that, you know, I chant Hare Krishna and it'll, you know, whatever it is. So that's offensive chanting. Then there's pure chanting. Then there's Namabhas, which is innocent. And he became a devotee, interestingly enough. Again in St. Louis, we were talking and handing out mantra cards. And we've got the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, you've got the mantra on there. I gave it to this young guy. He was a student at Washington University. And he was like, that's what it means, that's what it means, I can't believe it. He was like in a mundane ecstasy. I said, well, great. I'd never seen anybody respond like that to a mantra card. And what had happened is he was hitchhiking in Oregon, and on the back of a billboard, someone had painted Hare Krishna as one word. And he was thinking, is it Hare Krishna? Is it Hare Ishna? Is it, because if he'd never seen Hare, he had no idea. And he said it had been rattling out in his brain for 3.5 years. What does that mean? Is it Hare Isana? Well, what is it? What is it? You know, couldn't find it in the dictionary, couldn't find it, never heard anybody use it before. And when I handed him a mantra card, he said, Hare Krishna, and explained, he was in ecstasy, material ecstasy. But he actually, that chanting of the holy name, namabhas, in an innocent, non-offensive, will bring one to, it counteracts sinful activities. It will bring us to, I'm in the negative world, all my sinful activities. And we have performed so many, if you add in all the previous lives. So it can bring you to zero. Haridas Thakur was making the point of the power of the holy name. Even namabhas, even innocently, without understanding what it means, if one just utters the syllables, it is so powerful that it can eradicate all sinful activities. We have the example of Ajamil. What happened after the Yamadutas relieved him? Did he jump on a flower plane and go back to Godhead? What happened to our friend Haridas? Ajamil. Yes, Dravida Prabhu.
Yes, he got a second chance. He didn't die, and then he denounced.
He went to Hardware and had to finish up the business. So it's not enough to negate sinful activities. That's one of the point the whole chapter is making. One of the points is that unless you fill it with a positive vacuum, you're going to go do the elephant bathe. You're going to go do sinful activities again. It's not uncommon. People who have addiction problems, they give up, they're addicted to alcohol, they give up that and they get addicted to drugs. They give up drugs, they get addicted to cigarettes. They give up cigarettes, they get addicted to sex. They have an addictive personality. So we have an addictive personality. Why? Because there's a big hole in our heart where love of Krishna is supposed to be. And therefore we're trying to stuff whatever will fit in there and nothing really hits the spot. So it's not enough to come to the point of simply ending the reaction for sinful activities. As Ajamil had to go on and perform bhakti, then you get to the stage of pure Krishna prema. So the point is, as Prabhupada quotes, and we'll end here, with this Harinam Eva Kevalam, that unless one comes to the point of pure devotion, pure love, one will never get out of this material world. And the holy name is so powerful, even you chant inattentively, not that we should stay in it. All right, I'm chanting it. We shouldn't stay kanistas forever. That's excuse for a lot of stuff. But don't stay a kanista. That's not the intention of the thing. So we can end there. Let's see if anybody has any question. Anybody before Vijay raises the dead with his voice? Yes, you had a question? Oh, we're looking for the mic. But does somebody have a question? Yes. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So I have this question, right? While we are dealing with devotees and other people around, right?
Pretty hard to avoid.
And we hear philosophy, right? So sometimes it becomes, for me, a bit challenging because when we are asked to deal with some person in some way, right? The philosophy comes into the picture and I think, okay, if I do this, this is going to happen.
Can you
the
give
philosophy.
Me an example?
Right. He calls me somewhere outside. Right.
Is he a devotee?
He's my family friend.
Okay.
So then, if we are
sure you can immediately be sure he's going to dump a bunch of garbage on you.
Right. So, but if I am, from my side, if I am like constantly analyzing using philosophy, how it is, how am I going to handle this, right? It becomes a bit too dry. I mean, the relationship doesn't, it's not. It doesn't work out. You are constantly analyzing how is he going to respond, how am I going to act.
Well,
I mean, because how do we handle that?
We all have personalities. Some people are wound tight. Some people are mellow. I mean, we have our. It's off the track, but it makes the point. Prabhupada had in Los Angeles. Prabhupada would sleep maybe 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours at night, and then he would take an hour and a half nap in the afternoon, usually. And when Prabhupada woke up, he'd take a little dab coconut water, a little fruit juice, and a little Usually they make some little snack item, some little pastry or something. So this particular, and we would all wait. You know, if you've been to the LA Temple Prophet's quarters, up when there's the staircase, we used to wait at the end of that staircase on the way up there. And the Prophet's servant would come down with his Mahaprasadam, you know? And it's just like the cartoon movies, you know, they see there's a big bunch of dust and arms and legs this way and that, and, you know, and we'd, like piranha, we'd hit that thing, there wouldn't be a thing left on the plate. One time, Nanda Kumar, Prabhupada's servant, came down, and they'd made those sugar cookies. They're just butter, flour, and sugar. If it's done right, it's a very nice cookie. And it had peanut butter frosting. And Prabhupada had licked off the frosting and left the cookies. So that was a particularly attractive spot, you know, getting Prabhupada, it's Mahaprasadam. But the point is that Nanda Kumar said, Prabhupada, you didn't eat the cookie, you just ate the frosting. Is it? Prabhupada said, everyone has their own taste. So even in liberation, even in pure Krishna consciousness, we have personalities. We have our own, you know, inclinations in nature. We don't just become automatons. So people are going to respond to things in different ways. You know, but there is, I'm sorry to say, to break the bubble, there is an inherent gulf of difference between the materialist and a devotee. In the ultimate issue, you know, Priti Lakshanam, revealing one's mind in confidence, and someone reveals their mind. If they're not a devotee, if they don't understand, I'm not this body, they're spirits, if we don't have a shared love of Krishna, you can't really open your heart completely to that person because they don't understand. And there's no, what do you know, how about them Padres? I mean, you know, what are you gonna relate to, you know? So, you know, you can, Prabhupada said we have to, here's how to love properly, but I'll say this first. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam about a young householder, everyone will be giving that young devotee couple, everyone will give them advice. And from when you were a young householder and you were married, did your relatives give you so much advice? Everybody, oh, you got to get a job, or you got to get a bigger house, or, you know, have you started your IRA yet? You know, and, you know, what are you going for a vacation? I want to go to Vrindavan. I want to go, you know, whatever. I'm going to go to the New York Ratha Yatra. Well, have you seen the world's largest ball of string? You know, what? You know? So they're all full of advice. They're full of advice. And Prabhupada said you have to learn the art, these are the words he uses, of listening carefully, politely, and then ignoring everything they say. So, oh, we are, one of our general counsel for the GBC, Devaki Nandana, who's quite a powerful preacher actually in Singapore and in India. He's not the Juhu Kanpur Devaki, but the Singapore Devaki. He's super smart. He's a fantastic attorney. He's Krishna's mercy on us, you know. And so, you know, he'll be talking about something and somebody says, well, why don't we do this? Or, you know, how about this and this and that? And he's such a gentleman. He says, oh, that's interesting. He said, I'll take that under advisement. That means that idea is never going to see the light of day. He you know, just, and the rest of us are thinking, why are you asking that question, you know? But he's very polite. He says, oh, good, but interesting point. I'll take that under advisement. So, you know, because he's a gentleman, you know, you don't tell the guy, where the hell did you come up with that idea? So, you know, we learn the art of you know, we're polite, we do our business, we care about them, you know. But you don't just drop your guard and drink in whatever they're saying. The city's a city, you know, the body is a city of 9 gates. So we don't just drop, we don't eat whatever they bring us, we don't hear whatever they hear, you know, we just don't do it. There's an inherent filtering system. We're because it's described, as we were saying in the beginning, how subtle attachment develops, how imperceptibly over time, all of a sudden you realize you're harpooned and you can't get it out of your heart. So anyway, so you have a natural filtering system, and there is going to be an inherent. You know, when one takes up devotional service, Prabhupada says it in a number of places. His friends lose interest in him. you don't want to go to the ball game. You don't want to, you go to you at work and, hey, did you see such and such last night on the, did you, hey, you seen the, and you're just like, oh, no. I was reading. I was at the temple. I was chanting. I went to bed early because I'm going to get up early. They can't relate. And my neighbors, because he's actually a nice guy. He invited me. He said, they were drinking and they were making a bunch of noise. It was somebody's birthday. And I went over to ask him, please, what can we do? It's 11 o'clock at night and I got to get up early. Can we just tune it down here a bit? And he said, well, why don't you come on and join us? He said, we got a steaks on the grill and we got some free from, cool suds in the fridge. Come on in, And I said, that's really not my, So I said, I'm a vegetarian. He said, we'll grill some veggies. Come on in, there's no way I'm going to do that. That's an extreme example. And they're wondering, what's wrong with you? The classic is when Garga Muni's mother, Garga Muni, first Brahmananda moved in, Bruce, and then Greg, Garga Muni moved in. The mother completely freaked. They were her only sons. He was divorced. She burst into Prabhupada's room saying, you're crazy, you're all crazy. How can Prabhupada, like jujitsu, they throw the energy at you instead of fighting against it, you just channel it, So Prabhupada said, good point, madam. He said, give me a piece of paper. Prabhupada drew a line down the middle, and Prabhupada said, you say that we're crazy. And he said, frankly, madam, we say that you're crazy. Let us analyze. And Prabhupada drew a line down the middle, who's crazy? And it became, remember that little pamphlet? It was a fantastic little pamphlet we used to distribute on Sankirtan called Who's Crazy? And it's Prabhupada talking to, smoking, drinking, crazy for sex, meeting, which is, dead carcasses. It'd be a gray blue if they hadn't dyed it with full of colors. Just what do you, and working for, you're going to drop dead. Who's crazy? Let's just analyze for a minute. And she actually had a conversion, she became over time became quite polite. So I think we'll just end here with this question. But and then a devotee, one of the features about Srila Prabhupada, and I saw it again and again and again, he could just touch the heart of people. And why? Hari Sari told me that he said to Prabhupada one time, Prabhupada, everybody likes you. When it was a stewardess on the airplane, or when he was checking in for the ticket, or the luggage guy, or the person they're standing next to, or, the taxi cab driver. He said, everybody likes you, Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, you know why? Prabhupada said, because I like them. That Prabhupada actually felt for this poor person, eternal part and parcel of Krishna, and they're banging around in this material world full of anxiety and cruising for a bruising. How can we help these people? And people picked up on it. I'll end with one last story. It's a classic. Prabhupada was in Chicago. Because my point is that there's a natural gulf between the materialist and the devotee. There is a precautionary filtering system, and good thing that there is. So we don't let all that ignorance and passion wash over us. We develop an attachment and we're harpooned and reeled in before we know it. So we're careful, we're cautious. And there is especially as a young devotee, we're wary of material nature, and rightly so. Like somebody, if you're in AA from drinking, you don't go to a bar. You just don't mix in those places, because something's going to, you're going to hear the clink of the ice in the glass and zing, off you go, So there's a natural wariness. But that evolves over time into that we can appreciate people, we can understand what they're doing, and there's a deep affection for them. That this is spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. How can I help them? And sometimes we can help them just by our example. But so, a devotee, pandita samadarshana, but beyond that, a devotee loves everyone perfectly. So, to finish this man came to see Srila Prabhupada, and the devotees had said to Prabhupada, he was the editor of a major magazine in America. let me say not major, let me say with a large circulation. I don't want to give this magazine more credit than it, credit where it doesn't deserve it. You'll understand in a minute. And had a readership at the time, mid-70s, of 6 million people. And they were going to make Srila Prabhupada the featured interview in the magazine. So the temple president, Sri Govinda, said to Prabhupada, because the devotee in Chicago, Pundarik was his name. Pundarik's father was the editor of this magazine. And some or other Sri Govinda found out about it, convinced the son. The son asked the father. Father said it was the year of the yogi. There was of the guru. Life magazine had done a whole cover story on it. So this magazine decided that it would be interesting to have an interview with Prabhupada. So he came to Prabhupada. This magazine has 6 million people. That's the readership. Will you do an interview? Prabhupada said, certainly. The man shows up, the editor of the magazine. He's doing his pre-interview to get an idea of how's this going to go. Prabhupada says, what is your magazine? Sri Govinda says, it's entertainment magazine. And Prabhupada was a transcendental Sherlock Holmes. If you tried to divert him or feed him with, Prabhupada was immediately picked up on the vibe, Prabhupada said, oh, what kind of entertainment magazine? They said, photographs, Prabhupada. At each step, the temple was home, okay, let's hope Prabhupada stops there, Prabhupada said, what kind of photographs? The man said, photographs of women. Prabhupada was on it right then. Prabhupada said, what kind of photographs of women? And it was a classic, trying to perfume a dead rat. The devotee said, it's photos of women in various states of undress. It was Playboy magazine. He was the editor of Playboy. And Prabhupada was like, he probably didn't know Playboy. You could, but they said, the photographs of women in various states of undress. And Prabhupada was shocked. Prabhupada said, we cannot be in such a magazine. And then here's the sweet part. Prabhupada turned to this editor. And Prabhupada was such warmth and affection and kind of incredulity that he couldn't believe. Prabhupada said, you seem like a gentleman. You seem well educated. How are you involved in such a magazine? And the way Prabhupada said it, it was just, we used to say smut, just pornography, but it was just garbage. And the way Prabhupada said, he didn't say it was garbage, but he said, you seem, and the guy just cracked open like a watermelon. He said, I know, I graduated top of honors at Columbia Journalism School, one of the best journalism schools in the world. And he became apologetic. And he said, I'll look for another job. He just opened up. Because Prabhupada just reached in there with, so it's not that we don't feel for people or care about people. We don't have emotion. It doesn't mean any of that. As a neophyte, we got to be careful. Because you open that door and Prabhupada said, we go out to convert them, not that they convert us. So, does that answer your question? Okay. Vijay, please forgive me. No, it's late.
Prabhu is here. Maitreya Prabhu is here with a question.
No, I know, but the other devotees have a question. What's for breakfast? So there's some questions that trump other questions. So we're going to end here. Thank you, Prabhu. I'm sorry. You can save it for tomorrow's speaker. They'll give you a better answer than me anyway.
No, Maitreya Prabhu is here, Maharaj.
I've known Maitreya for 40 years, 50 years, and he's a very kind-hearted person. He'll ask somebody else. Hare Krishna. I'm sorry.
Okay, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
It's his enthusiasm is a wonderful thing. Don't get it wrong. It's nice that he's enthusiastic. And Maitreya also.